Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
Hi, food friends. I'm Ralph, behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food. And here we are. Ralph is keeping appropriate distance away. I hope you can zoom in enough.
But
okay.
Sometimes people are so generous, some of our viewers, and they ask, why isn't Ralph in front of the camera more? And I just want to say, too many kooks spoil the kitchen.
Thank you. Well, there you go. Well, now actually you can't be in front of the camera.
Right, so we have to be socially, safely distanced due to the pandemic that we're all experiencing.
And we are grateful. We're safe and well, and we hope all of you are staying safe and keeping well and staying strong during this time.
Be smart, be safe, be healthy.
That's right. And, we're just... we might be stuck home, but man, we still have to eat.
In fact, more than ever.
Well, I think we're working on the quarantine 15.
No, what I meant was, I think more people are cooking for themselves, and that's why I think of this as the original do-it-yourself retro comfort food
and you know
show.
what? And the fact that we're staying home and cooking more at home is good. Not that we don't want to patronize our local restaurants. And caterers and things like that, but you know what? Everybody should know their way around the kitchen. And if this forced you to maybe branch out a little bit with cooking and baking, then you know what? All the better. I know a lot of people, like, they started baking bread for the first time.
Yeah, that's really popular now. And just cleaning out the pantry. Kevin's brother had cereal with buttermilk this morning, and that's something he'll never do again.
You make do. Well, listen, Ralph, we're going to be doing some baking, and we're going to be making a tunnel of fudge cake. We call it a tunnel of fun. The inspiration of this came from the 1966 Pillsbury Bake-Off. This recipe was submitted. It wasn't the grand prize winner, but it was a winner. A woman in Houston, Texas submitted this recipe, and you know what? It was a sensation.
Not bad.
It's so interesting to think about how a recipe that's new, the whole country just all of a sudden everyone was making these cakes, and what it really did is it really got people to get one of these.
Bundt cake pan.
A Bundt cake pan. And this is what we're going to bake our cake in today. Of course, they still make these. I've got a little collection of them, actually. I don't know if they still come in these fun colors, but here, look at this, Ralph.
Wow, those are fun.
Never used.
What is that date back?
Okay. Oh, this is probably from the, I'd say the 70s. These are the 10-inch Bundt pans.
So where do you find them with the original stickers inside?
Well, I mean, this was just someone bought this and never used it.
I mean, like, did you find that at a resale shop?
Yeah, I bought it at a garage sale or a flea market or something.
So Kevin's a fan of baseball. How many bunts are in a walk?
How many bumps are in a
bunts?
Walk? Oh, bunts are in a walk.
Is that a different kind of Bundt?
It is a different kind. I think it's spelled B-U-N-T.
And
this has got a D. B-U-N-D-T.
Great.
Bundt.
Okay.
This is an 8-inch Bundt pan for a smaller cake. But what we're going to need today is a standard 10-inch Bundt pan. So that's what we're going to... Anyways, there wasn't a lot of call for Bundt pans until this recipe came onto the scene. And then everyone was going crazy and going out and buying these Bundt pans because they wanted to make this cake. So we're going to make the cake. So let's start at the beginning. First of all, what I have here, Ralph,
a plate of butter.
A plate of butter. This is 1 3/4 cups. How much is that? 3½ sticks. Okay, 3½ sticks of butter
in one cake.
In one cake.
Wow.
Well, hey, is it going to be good or is it going to be good?
Yeah, it's not a diet cake. That's
no,
for
it's
sure.
not a diet cake. And this is unsalted butter. Okay, unsalted butter, 3½ sticks.
Okay.
And I've had it out for quite a while so that it would soften and get to room temperature, be easy to mix. So we're going to put this butter here in our mixer.
3½ sticks of cubed or cut up butter so that
Yeah.
it softens.
Yeah, so you could not, the reason I cube the butter is so that it softens quicker, okay? The more
Right, the more solid
surface
it is.
area
Yeah.
that you have, right, and the air gets to it, because actually a couple of those sticks were in the freezer.
Oh.
And I don't know, folks, some of you may do this. You know what? You buy butter on sale. I do.
Oh.
And you can't use it all right away, so you put it in the
I
freezer.
never knew you could do that.
Yeah,
I've
you absolutely can
never
freeze
froze
butter.
And your plate looks kind of buttery too.
Yeah. I think they got most of the butter off of there. And then, okay, so we're going to add to that 1 3/4 cups of sugar. All right? So we're going to put our sugar in with our butter. And we're going to cream this up. Okay? I'm going to start on low here.
Now, if you didn't have a mixer, Kevin, could you do that by hand, or would it just take too
Oh,
long?
you could, but boy, that's a lot of butter and sugar. More butter than sugar to work in. It would take a while.
What would you use? Just a...
You could use a hand mixer if you didn't have a stand mixer,
Right.
but you'd really want to use help of our modern electric appliances. And this is one of my trusty old mixers. This is a KitchenAid from the early 1980s. So this mixer here is close to 40 years old.
Wow.
And still going strong. We're going to get this nice and light and fluffy, and then we're going to come back and take a look at it. Okay. All right, Ralph, here we go. Let's show our friends.
Well, that looks creamy.
Isn't that creamy?
So how long did that go for?
Oh, let's say 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our butter and our sugar cream together. Now, Ralph, we're going to add eggs. I've got 6 eggs here. And again, like our butter, like all ingredients when you're baking, we start with we have it at room temperature, okay? So we've got 6 eggs, and we're going to put in 1 at a time. So we're going to put our mixer on, and we're going to get these eggs worked in, all 6, 1 at a time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's important to do them 1 at a time.
1 at a time. Don't dump them all in. You could break the eggs in advance and kind of plop them in one.
Like slowly pour them in?
Yeah, like 1 yolk at a time. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just go here, there.
The important thing to remember is not to put the shells in.
Right,
like
yes.
Lisa Douglas.
Keep the shells out. Scrape the bowl after each time. If you see, like, there's egg on the side.
It's already getting more yellow.
It is. And although it's not going to stay yellow because this is a chocolate cake after all, but okay, I'm going to get these eggs incorporated again. One egg at a time.
Total of 6.
Total of 6, and we'll
3.5 sticks of butter, and how much sugar?
1 3/4 cup.
All right, we're making
Okay.
classic tunnel of
All right,
Fudge
Ralph. Here is where we're at with the 6 eggs beaten in, okay, to our batter.
Okay.
So now we have one more thing to add to this batter. 2 cups of powdered sugar.
Wow.
All right? I know it sounds like a lot because we already have granulated
that's what I was
sugar in
thinking.
there. But you know how powdered sugar is. It like
It's like
once
dust
it
in the
gets
wind. It dissolves.
exactly, it dissolves. But we're going to put in 2 cups gradually. I'm going to put in about half because you know what a mess this will make.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do it slow and have that worked in. And I'll scrape. So we're going to slowly work in these 2 cups of powdered sugar, confectioner's sugar, 10X sugar, goes by many different names, into the batter. Okay.
You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, actually.
Minimal mess.
For me, I'm pretty impressed. All right, we are going to scrape though.
It just occurred to me though, that's probably why bakers wear white aprons, because it doesn't show the flour and all that kind
And
of stuff.
you know what? That's right.
Because you're wearing black, and that would definitely show up if you made a mess on that.
I think too that there was always a sense chefs wearing white, often
To show
chefs
cleanliness.
To show exactly, to show cleanliness. All right. So now we're done with this. Going to work this in one more time. And I got a little powdered sugar on the top of the beater there.
Just want to make sure that's all mixed in.
You want to get that all
Boy,
in.
it sure is looking fluffy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a thicker batter. Now, we don't even have any flour in here yet. Something to note that this recipe does not use any leavener. There's no baking soda in this recipe. There's no baking powder. It's going to use the power of those 6 eggs.
But you are going to bake it.
Yeah, we're going to bake it. Okay. So...
Is this also called a lava cake?
Yes. So, you know what? I don't know. Maybe Tunnel of Fudge is like the Pillsbury name. But this cake made a resurgence a few years ago as a molten cake or a lava cake or molten lava cake.
You might see it at restaurants.
Yes.
Fancy restaurants.
Yeah, sometimes they make little mini ones, right? And things like that. This is the same idea. Okay. So, Ralph, I've got here 2 1/4 cups of flour, and I have here 3/4 of a cup of unsweetened cocoa. Now, folks, you can use whatever cocoa that you like, whether you use, as long as it's unsweetened, but you could use the Dutch process if that's to your liking, or just the regular. I want to say this is just the regular. We're going to take our cocoa.
Just don't use Coco Chanel.
We're going to use our cocoa and flour here in the sifter and put them together.
Nice.
Okay? Like
Kill
this.
2 birds with one sifter.
And this will help kind of incorporate them nicely.
Oh, yeah.
See what's going on there, Ralph?
Yeah, I'm trying to give our friends a look at how the
Bird's eye view.
How the flour and the cocoa are mixing together.
And I'll get any lumps out. Sometimes cocoa has a few lumps, more so than flour. But we're going to work this through.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay, so there is our cocoa and flour mix. Now, I'm going to take this off. And this batter is just like
so
a cloud.
Light. Yeah, it looks really fluffy and light. So, yeah, you're braver than me. If I was wearing a long sleeve black shirt or sweater like that, food would be all over the sleeves.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Good.
This is why we have a washing machine.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying you're being very conscientious and careful and doing a good job.
If I had thought about it, sometimes I wear aprons, but more often than not, it's not that I don't like wearing aprons, I just forget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, there's that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stir the flour and cocoa mixture, thank you, into our batter by hand. Okay? And we want to do this just until...
Don't want to overbeat it, but you do
right.
a little at a time.
A little at a time, and incorporate it. Now, some people say, well, why wouldn't you just do that with using the mixer?
That's what I was wondering.
Because this is the method that was used to ensure, I guess, that the cake doesn't become too dense for the filling.
Keeps it light and fluffy.
Yeah. So, all right, we're just going to keep on stirring until all this is in, and I'm getting a little, if I don't inhale half of this cocoa powder.
Cocoa dust?
We're dusting up here with a little cocoa, but hey, that ain't so bad. A little chocolate
else is going around.
Right, exactly. I'll take the cocoa any day.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute.
So, Ralph, I've got this all stirred in here.
Wow, that looks like a chocolate mousse. It does.
It does, actually.
It's so fluffy and chocolatey.
So that's all the flour and
don't
cocoa.
Eat it because it's raw eggs.
Yes, I'm not going to eat it. I just want to make sure that you've got that. Again, you just want to stir it till it's just combined. We don't want to overbeat.
Right, but if you see,
see a little white streak,
areas of powder, flour, sugar.
Now the last thing, I've got 2 cups here of toasted walnuts.
So those,
You could use pecans if you wanted to.
So those you cut up yourself?
Yeah.
Or chopped up, I should say?
They were like halves. So if you can buy them already chopped or whatever, but this is what I had. And
then you toast them?
I toast them. So put them over just a medium-low heat. Keep an eye on them. And when they start to get fragrant, you know that they're toasting up. And what it does is it sort of... it releases
the
oils in the nuts, exactly, Ralph.
But don't step away from it because it'll burn.
No, and I've done that. So, okay. So I'm going to put these 2 cups of toasted walnuts in here.
Oh, that's something you can do all at once?
Yep. And I'm going to stir those in. Okay.
And toasted does have a distinctly different flavor from just regular nuts. You know, if you toast the nuts, like Kevin said, the oils and different deeper flavors come out.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, when you buy nuts in the store, they're raw. They haven't been roasted before. And so raw nuts don't have the same flavor at all as a roasted nut. I mean, if you had a raw peanut, it wouldn't have nearly that peanutty taste that a roasted peanut would have. And the texture, too, would be a little different, frankly. It'd be a little on the softer side.
Yeah, well, I've had raw peanuts. They're chewy and wet.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the nuts are in. So here is our pan. It's really hard to see because the interior is white, but I've sprayed it with baking spray, which is basically a mixture of oil and flour. If you didn't have baking spray, I would tell you to just grease the inside of your Bundt pan and give it a little flour around the sides.
Grease it with what?
Oh, with either butter or
Something
oil.
like a Crisco? Or oil?
Crisco would be fine. Okay. So now we're going to put this, you can see, it's a thick batter. We're going to spoon this
So this
in
is
here.
where a little bit of the art comes into it because you have to be very careful about distribution and not be too messy. Or am I overthinking
No, you're
this?
right.
Because I guess once you start baking it, it'll all forgive a lot of mistakes. But
Yeah.
it seems like you want to be mindful about proportioning or distributing it correctly, right?
Right. And remember, this cake is supposed to have a soft center. Okay? Now, normally when we would bake a cake, we would check for doneness by sticking a toothpick in the center of the cake and making sure it came out dry. Well,
do that with this one.
Well, it's going to be wet, and you want it to be wet because the inside's got to be kind of gooey. Molten, thank you.
Lava.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to try and look for another clue for doneness, which is when you bake things, as they become done, they start to gradually pull away from the side of your baking pan. So whether it's, you know, a square pan or a round pan, when it starts to pull away from the sides,
Yes.
that's how you know it's there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is let's level this out. And we're going to get it, you know, the Bundt pan's got all these little nooks and crannies here. We're going to get it pushed in there. So, our Westinghouse Wonder Oven, Miracle Oven, I'm sorry, is, they called it a Miracle Oven too, by the way, because it was supposed to be perfectly evenly heated. So, no matter where you had things in the oven, it would be the same temperature.
So it's
I can't attest to that, but it is a pretty accurate oven.
But is it preheating now?
It is preheated at 350 degrees and ready for this.
How long does this
So
need
we're
to
going
be
to
in
put
there?
this in for 45 to 50 minutes. I'm going to check it at 45 and see how it looks relative to the sides sort of, you know, pulling away. So we're going to put that center rack, please, 350 degrees, 45 to 50 minutes.
Let's
I'll
set a
get
timer.
cleaned up here. I will set the timer when my hands aren't gunked up with cake batter, and we'll pull it out. I will tell you in advance that this cake takes a long time to cool. because the outer part of the cake cools, but the inside of the cake needs time to sort of set up. So it's fine. It'll be a couple hours before we can dig into it, but rest assured we will.
It's like a volcano. The outer part has to cool off, and then the inside stays molten.
There you go.
It's warm.
Okay.
But we'll stay busy listening to our friends Ray Conniff and
Oh, this music is softly nice.
Ray Anthony and Les Helga.
All right, Ralph. So this cake, now we don't panic when we see this.
See what?
The cake has, when we took it
Sunken.
out of the oven, it was, it was full. Now it's sunken a little bit. Remember, we want that ooey gooey center.
Right.
So it doesn't have the structure in the center of the cake. So it looks like it's collapsed. It's just fallen in a little bit because of the soft center. But I took it out of the oven after 45 minutes. I saw how it was pulling away nicely from the sides of the pan.
Like a big
I
brownie.
let it cool in this pan for about an hour and a half. So it's just warm, okay? It's just warm. And now I'm going to invert it onto a plate, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to let it cool all the way, completely.
You mean before we can eat it?
Yes, because that inside needs to set up,
Oh,
okay?
I guess I can wait.
So we're going to...
So don't panic if you see it
Don't
crumbling
panic.
like it looks like a big brownie.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, the cake fell.
No.
Well, it doesn't have that firm structure in the center. So we're going to take a plate, and we're going to put it here, and we're going to do
The old flipperoo.
the old flipperoo. There it goes. I heard it. Now we're going to lift.
Wow.
Now see? Looks just fine. Again, because the bottom, which you're not going to see, is where. But oh, Ralph, can you smell the chocolate?
Yes.
Okay, and then
right
of course
away.
you can see these nuts coming through the side of the cake. So, and look how, again, we gave it a good spray, so it released beautifully.
It did.
We're going to let this cool all the way, probably a good hour,
Well, we can have
Plus.
dinner and have it for dessert.
and then we're going to put a chocolate glaze over it, okay?
You don't say.
Yes, I do say. So we'll come back and I'll make the glaze, which is really simple. We are going to make just a very simple chocolate glaze for this cake, okay?
Okay.
Couldn't be easier. So here's what I've got. I've got 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar in the bowl, okay?
All right.
To that, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. All right, so now that kind of gets us in the chocolate zone.
So these are two ingredients you had in the original making of the cake.
That's true. So now I've just got some milk. 2% or whole milk works best here. We're going to put in we're going to start with 1 tablespoon and about a half. 1.5 tablespoons of milk. Let's whisk that in. And of course that will dissolve quickly. It depends, you don't want the glaze too thick so that it can't spread.
Right. And is the milk normally seems like you normally have everything room temp, but this milk is cold right out of the
It is,
fridge,
yeah. Ideally, it would be room temperature. Okay, I'm going to add
Another half
half a tablespoon of milk. So now we're at about 2 tablespoons. And I think
That should do it.
that should get us there.
Oh yeah, just that little bit. See the difference it makes? It already wetted it up. Is that a word? Wetted it up?
It is now. I should have used a spoon instead of a whisk, but it'll all work out there. Now, that's almost a frosting. See that?
Yeah.
So if you wanted it a little thinner, you could put a little bit more milk. I don't want to make it too thin.
Now, wouldn't you use a spatula for this?
You could, and maybe I will.
I mean, to put it on the cake.
Yes. Yeah. If it's thin enough, you can kind of drizzle it over the cake.
I think I should try that.
The whisk,
just to see if the chocolate's to the satisfaction of the viewers. Yes, it is.
Okay. So
I'm doing it for them.
I'm sure they appreciate it. All right. So we're gonna do this. I'm going to put this over the top like so.
Just let it kind of fall down.
And let it fall. It's going to fall very slowly because it's thick. And believe me, that is going to be
super chocolatey.
Yeah, that's what this cake's all about.
Don't forget you have that deep molten chocolate on the inside as well, right?
Yep. So it's almost like a triple chocolate threat. Now you want this icing or this glaze to sort of set up.
So while it's still kind of in a liquidy state, you start to spread it at least a little bit more. And then knowing that it's going to drip down. Like maybe on the inside, Kevin, there's a little glob there.
Here?
Yeah, move that up around to more of the inside or outside. Okay.
Gravity does a marvelous job with this. And it'll go down and just sort of... It's starting to stiffen up already. It will just sort of take its place on the cake. Okay. Well, Ralph, I think our cake has cooled enough.
Looks cool. Look at the frosting.
Feels cool. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that nice? Nice chocolate top. So, what do we say? There's nothing...
Nothing like the taste of... The proof is in the pudding.
In this case, in the cake. So there's nothing to it but to do it.
But let me just get this straight. There's chocolate inside the cake as well as the frosting and the batter and everything.
Yeah, so it's a chocolate cake, and the middle should be soft, right? Like the tunnel of fudge, right? The molten lava. So.
And then there's nuts that are toasted, not just regular chopped nuts. So there's all kinds of deep flavors.
Cut here. Now see that? See what's on the knife?
Yeah, is that good?
That's good. So that hopefully
indicates what?
That the inside is soft, which is what we want. Oh, look at that.
It gooped right out.
Isn't that? Yeah, it sure did. You can kind of, if you can, I don't know if the camera can get in there. You see that? Can you see the...
It might be in the shadow.
I need to cut another piece.
Yeah, just give a little.
Yeah,
more,
let me. Cut. I gotta cut more pieces, anyways.
Now, Kevin, can you eat this?
The studio audience here is going to want a sample.
Yeah, can you eat this cake by itself or with ice cream?
Well, I mean, you could, of course, eat anything with ice cream.
Do you think ice cream would be gilding the lily and have maybe a little too much going on, or do you think that would be just right?
Well, I don't know. I think you can, yeah, look at that.
Nice and soft in the middle.
That's beautiful. And so now maybe that we've got it opened up a little bit more, Ralph, maybe.
Yeah, hold it up a little into the light. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That looks yummy.
So there it is. And I've noticed, like when I cut into it, that it has, and it's supposed to sort of have a crunchy outer, part, and then with the soft middle.
So that'd be good with a glass of milk, a nice tea or coffee.
Wow.
His face says it all.
Chocolate.
Heaven.
Just chocolate.
Is it a chocolate delight?
And it does remind me of a lot of those cakes that different restaurants will serve with the gooey. Look at that. It's almost like a chocolate fudge on the inside.
My dilemma is I can't tell if you're showing it to the camera, the television audience, or to me to eat.
Here. Here's a fork.
No, I can wait. All right.
You sure? I don't think you can wait.
All right, let's see how I'm going just for the...
You're going right for the gooey part.
I sure am. Wow. Fudgy. Very fudgy.
And the nuts.
Nuts making
The walnuts. Nice flavor.
Wow.
All right. Well, this cake took a bit to make because of the cooling time. And you really do have to let it, you got to let this set up and cool. So you got to be patient. You need to let it cool before you invert it out of the Bundt pan. And then you need to let it cool before you cut into it completely. But you got the nice chocolate icing on there. Again, we made it with our friend, the Bundt pan. And
you can see why this
wow.
recipe was a winner way back when.
Way back when. You can see this blew people's minds.
When did it come out?
1966.
Wow.
So it's going on 54 years already of decadence, of just chocolate. And, you serve this, you bring this out for dessert, you're going to be a star.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a hit. It's a showstopper.
Yeah, look at this, Ralph, here. So you know what? Everybody, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this one and baking with us and being with us.
And I wanted to let people know that Kevin has another YouTube channel called Always Analog, in which he explores the world of analog artistry and technology, you might say. And all you have to do is search Always Analog on YouTube, and that's ANALOG.
That's right. And it's also in our, if you go to our channel page, it's in our list of channels as well. But
and they're just brief segments about, writing utensils and pens
and pencils and paper and typewriters.
So it's a lot of fun and
things like that. Other interests that I have beyond the kitchen.
But right now, I think in this time when people are kind of returning to the basics, I think writing letters and using analog technology is really even more important than ever. So check it out, Always Analog. Check it out through YouTube. It's a short segment of fun stuff that Kevin does there.
So thanks so much for being a part of this one, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, stay strong. And we'll get through it together. And we'll see you again real soon, right here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.